Why did you decide to announce to the world that you were having a baby in that way? News that's that big, it's hard to hide and keep to yourself. Were you surprised at the reaction, or you must have been tickled at the reaction, because everybody was so thrilled for you? I felt so liberated and I felt like I can breathe and be happy. And Clive Davis passed at 94, and within hours Beyoncé posted her tribute. Rest in peace, Clive Davis. Thank you for your lifetime support and celebration of talent and creativity. That's what she wrote. Short, clean, PR approved. Meanwhile, Diddy sits in federal prison. Cassie's hotel hallway footage has been seen by millions. Jaguar Wright is naming names on podcasts and getting censored by lawyers. And Beyoncé has not said one word about any of it. Not one. But Clive Davis gets a tribute in hours. That tells you everything about who Beyoncé actually answers to. And Hughley, Cat Williams, Ye, and Sloan Bella have all been pointing at the same thing for years. Beyoncé is not a self-made anything. She is a product built by Clive Davis. And the price of that construction is something the industry has spent decades hiding. How excited is your husband about this baby? You can only imagine and multiply that. It's like the time can't come fast enough. I think you should enjoy this time while you can. I'm trying my best, but I'm still anxious. I want a photo, baby. Here is where I stand. Beyoncé Knowles was manufactured, not discovered. Manufactured. Clive Davis did not sign her directly. She was under Columbia through Destiny's Child, then through her solo career. But Clive was the architect of the ecosystem she rose inside. He was the gatekeeper. He was the man who decided who got access to the biggest stages, the biggest budgets, the biggest promotional machines. And if you wanted to be the biggest star in the world, you did not say no to Clive Davis. You said yes to everything. And everything included the gatherings Clive hosted with Diddy, the private ceremonies that insiders have described for years, and a system of exchange that turned young female artists into currency. Hughley has been saying it without saying it for years. He's warned people not to put wealthy celebrities on pedestals. He said the game is rigged, that black people who succeed are the exception, not the rule, and that the system picks a few, elevates them, and uses them to make everyone else feel like they just didn't work hard enough. He's talked about how 8 people control more wealth than half the world. 8? And those 8 can control Jay-Z and Beyoncé. DL's point is not subtle. The people at the very top, the ones you never see, the ones behind the executives, behind the labels, behind the money, they own everything, including the celebrities you think are powerful. Beyoncé is not powerful. She is valuable. There's a difference. And valuable things get used. She did such a beautiful job, and I can't believe how natural she is. And I'm just proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And I can't believe how big and grown up you are. And I'm proud that she's going to represent so many young brown. Now, I'm going to tell you what that process involved because insiders have been describing it for years. And if you stack their accounts together, the picture is not subtle. Cat Williams has been the loudest. He told Shannon Sharpe about the Illuminati meeting, the one where career fates were decided. He said, there is a God side and the other side. He said he doesn't care about the other side, period. But he made it clear that the other side exists, that it operates through the music industry, and that people at the highest levels participate in things that would make your stomach turn. He said it directly. They can control Jay-Z and Beyoncé, but they can't control me. He said it on camera. He said, the most powerful black celebrities in the world are controlled by forces behind the industry. Forces that have leverage over them through private information, through things they've done, through things they've participated in. He said, one wrong move in a celebrity's career is over. And he named names: Shaq, Charles Barkley, LeBron James, Jay-Z, Beyoncé. He said they can control all of them. And then he said, but they can't control me. And what happened to New? He was blacklisted. He was reportedly medicated against his will. He was removed from the conversation. His catalog was not promoted. His brand deals evaporated. He went from billionaire to cautionary tale because he said the quiet part out loud, because he described the mechanism, because he told you that the people you think are the most powerful are actually the most controlled. And the more they have to lose. The more leverage the system has over them. They can control Jay-Z and Beyoncé. Not you, man. But they can't control me. You see, it ain't no name I won't name. It's up. Sloan Bella broke down the hierarchy. She said, it's never just Diddy. Diddy is a minion. She listed the names at the top. Clive Davis, David Geffen, the people who actually run the machine. She described puppeteering, the way powerful executives control the artists, control the access, control who rises and who falls. And she said something that I cannot stop thinking about. She said, these people participate in the bait and then they perpetrate the bait. Translation: the artists who make it to the top didn't just benefit from the system. They became part of it. They did things. They participated in your kids think you're cool. I'll blue, she'd be fronting on me a little bit, but she I catch her. Jay-Z revealing what his and Beyoncé's eldest daughter really thinks about her famous parents. Sloan Bella said, these people are controlling your kids' minds. She wasn't speaking metaphorically. She was describing a system where children, the children of the artists who made it, are pulled into the same machinery. Blue Ivy at the Met Gala at 14, breaking the age rule. Blue Ivy on the Renaissance tour, at 12 performing choreography that critics said looked too mature. Blue Ivy being styled like an adult at events her mother co-chairs. This is not a proud mom sharing moments. This is a process, a continuation. The machine requires fresh participants, and the easiest participants to control are the ones born inside it. Now, let me tell you what happened at those Clive Davis and Diddy parties, because people talk, former employees talk, bodyguards talk, women who were there talk, and the accounts all describe the same thing. I mean, I don't have a concept of what like certain simple things cost, which really is, you know. I'd like to know a little bit more about what like a milk carton cost and, you know. Let me think about this. Clive Davis hosted his annual pre-Grammy Gala for decades. It was the most exclusive event in music. Everybody who was anybody was there. Whitney Houston was there the year she passed. She appeared disheveled, damp, clearly not in a good state while people whispered and judged her. Brandy described the scene in her new book. Whitney passed hours later in a bathtub upstairs in the same hotel. Clive's party continued downstairs, but the pre-Grammy Gala was the public event, the public face behind closed doors, at private gatherings, at Diddy's parties, which Clive funded through Bad Boy Records, which Clive's money and distribution made possible. Something else was happening. Usher described it. He was 13. He opened doors and saw things he couldn't understand. Several people in a room having an "oh." You never knew what was going to happen. Pretty wild. Crazy. He was a child. Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, said the kid was sent to the hospital bleeding. Those are not metaphors. Those are not rumors. Those are descriptions of a system that used children as entertainment for powerful adults. And Beyoncé was inside the system for years. She attended these events. She was photographed at industry gatherings with Diddy and Cassie. She was part of the inner circle. Her husband called Diddy his strategist, the person he calls whenever I get in trouble. Jay-Z said that on camera. They were not distant acquaintances. They were family. Diddy said it himself. This is extended family. 9 weeks on the Billboard chart is one of my biggest songs at the time. It was like, the biggest thing I've ever did. Now, here's what the insiders say Beyoncé did to earn her place at the top of this system. She participated in the ceremonies, the private gatherings where access is granted, where loyalty is tested, where participants do things that become leverage because once you've done them, you can never leave. Cat Williams described the meeting where career fates were decided. New described the invisible forces that control the visible stars. Sloan Bella described puppeteering. Jaguar Wright described victims who are willing to testify. All of them are describing the same architecture. And at the center of that architecture, the most successful product had it ever produced is Beyoncé. She was also present at the gatherings Clive hosted with Diddy. Multiple insiders have described what happened at those events. Powerful men, young artists, private rooms, things that were not optional if you wanted to keep your career. Usher described what he saw as a child. Gene Deal described what Diddy did to him. Jaguar Wright described what happened to other people. People, she says, are ready to testify. And Beyoncé was in those rooms. She was photographed at those events. She was part of that extended family, as Diddy called it. She did not just attend as a bystander. Sources who were there say she participated. She did what was expected, and in return, the machine elevated her beyond anything talent could explain. And Bree's new book, the one that just came out, tells you exactly how the system targets young people. She describes being pursued at 15 by a 22-year-old industry insider. She describes believing it was love when it was calculated access. She describes carrying shame for years until she finally understood she had been used. Brandy is not talking about Clive Davis or Beyoncé directly. But she's describing the machinery, the system that normalizes older, powerful people having access to young, vulnerable talent. The system that teaches young artists that this is just how the industry works. The system Clive Davis perfected over 60 years. And here's the part that makes me physically angry. The children. Okay. No, I mean with this record, I did want to be more honest when it came to relationships and in my take and my perspective on relationships. That sound like something else and not something vibrating. Blue Ivy at 14 on the Met Gala carpet in a custom gown surrounded by 50-year-old billionaires. Blue Ivy at 12 on a movie premiere carpet in a strapless dress with makeup that looked wildly inappropriate for her age. Blue Ivy on tour stages performing choreography in front of thousands of strangers. All of it filmed, clipped, shared, analyzed. Jay-Z admitted she wasn't going for it at first, that she had to be pushed, that she was going through the motions until she started fighting back. Fighting back. A child fighting back against being put on stage. This is not a mother sharing her world with her daughter. This is a mother initiating her daughter into the same system that made her. Blue Ivy has no social media, no interviews, no public voice of her own. She exists entirely through appearances controlled by her parents. She is being positioned exactly the way Beyoncé was positioned as a product, as a brand, as a participant in a machine that extracts everything from you and gives you fame in return. And the cycle repeats. And Jay-Z, let me tell you about Jay-Z. Jay-Z is not a bystander in any of this. He is a full participant. Diddy called him his strategist, his confidant, the person he calls when things go wrong. Jay-Z was at the parties. Jay-Z knew what was happening. Jay-Z benefited from the same system. The Rockefeller Empire, the Roc Nation deals, the NFL partnership, the billionaire status. None of that happens without the machine. And Jay-Z uses Beyoncé. He uses her as a shield. When his legal troubles erupted, the lawsuit accusing him of assaulting a 13-year-old alongside Diddy at an afterparty. The family deployed Blue Ivy on the Mufasa red carpet the very next day. The message was, look at the beautiful family, not at the court documents. When the lawsuit was dropped with prejudice in February, within months, Beyoncé and Blue Ivy were on the Met Gala carpet, and the narrative shifted completely. Jay-Z's legal nightmare became Blue Ivy's stunning debut. That's not coincidence. That's crisis management using women and children as human shields. Jaguar Wright said it on Piers Morgan's show before the lawyers forced them to edit it out. They are a nasty little couple. They do nasty things, keeping people against their will, putting people on planes while they are unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane unconscious. She said she has 3 victims ready to testify about what Mr. Carter and his wife have done. Piers Morgan apologized and removed the interview. Not because it was false, because the lawyers demanded it. You don't censor lies. You censor things that are dangerous. Now, let me address what the defenders are going to say. They are going to say this is conspiracy theory. They are going to say Beyoncé earned her success through talent and hard work. They are going to say the Illuminati is a myth and Cat Williams is a comedian and none of this is real. Here's my response. First, you cannot have it both ways. You cannot say Beyoncé is the greatest performer of all time, a business genius, a self-made billionaire, and also say she had nothing to do with the most powerful executive in music history. She never attended the parties. She never saw anything. She was just a hard-working artist who happened to be in all the same rooms as the people now facing federal charges. The rooms were the same rooms. The parties were the same parties. Clive's pre-Grammy Gala was the party. Diddy's gatherings were the gatherings. The people were the same people. You don't get to be the queen of an empire without knowing how the empire was built. And the empire was built on a foundation of exploitation that everyone in those rooms either participated in or witnessed and chose to ignore. There is no third option. Second, the witnesses are not random internet trolls. Cat Williams is a Grammy-winning comedian who has been consistent about this for years. Ye is a billionaire artist who is inside the machine and got ejected when he started talking. Jaguar Wright is a singer who worked with The Roots and Jay-Z and has been naming names for years despite legal threats. Gene Deal was Diddy's actual bodyguard. Sloan Bella has been mapping the hierarchy for years. These are not nobodies. These are people who were inside. Third, the pattern of children is undeniable. Usher at 13, Justin Bieber as a teenager, Blue Ivy at 12 and 14, Brandy being pursued at 15 by a 22-year-old industry insider. Children keep appearing in adult environments surrounded by powerful men. And every single time, the adults who put them there call it career development. That is not mentorship. That is a system. Here is what I think really happened. Clive Davis built a machine that ran on exploitation. Young artists, especially young female artists and young black artists, were the fuel. They were signed young, isolated from their support systems, surrounded by industry people who reported to Clive and put into environments where they would be used. The parties, the private gatherings, the ceremonies, the exchanges. Some of them broke. Whitney, Janis, so many others who passed young while Clive collected his percentage and lived to 94. Some of them survived and rose to the top. And the price of rising was participation. You had to join the machine to stay in the machine. You had to do what was asked. You had to bring others in. That is how pyramid schemes of power work. Every person at the top recruited the next layer. Every new participant became a recruiter. And the person at the very top, Clive Davis, never had to get his hands dirty. He just had to own the infrastructure. Beyoncé rose. She did what was asked. She participated. She brought Blue Ivy in. And Clive Davis, the architect of the entire structure, became her honored mentor. Her tribute to him was not just professional courtesy. It was acknowledgement of everything, of the system, of the price, of the deal. He's doing the same thing I did 2 years ago. It's just his Kanye West, you know. So, it's like relentless. I was like, yeah, popcorn. And now Clive is gone. He cannot protect anyone anymore. He cannot make phone calls that end careers. He cannot threaten lawsuits. He cannot blackball artists who talk. The man who held the keys to the entire machine for 60 years is no longer breathing. And the people who were afraid to speak while he was alive are finding their voices. Jaguar Wright's podcast is growing. Gene Deal is still doing interviews. Cat Williams is still telling the truth on every platform that will have him. The Diddy trial created a legal record that names names and describes patterns. The walls are closing in on everyone who participated. And the tributes, the rest in peace Instagram posts from people who owe their entire careers, their entire fortunes, their entire identities to Clive's machine are going to look very different when the full accounting is done. So, I have 2 questions for you. Do you believe Beyoncé achieved billionaire status through talent alone? Or was she built by Clive Davis's system in exchange for participation in things the industry has spent decades covering up? And when you see Blue Ivy being positioned the same way at 14, do you see a proud mother, or a continuation of the same cycle? Let me know in the comments.